Hello, everybody, and welcome to FILTERLESS, the podcast where we talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about, however the fuck we want to talk about it. My name is Cat, or Catatonic if you come from YouTube, and this episode we are not joined by Ace because, unfortunately, he has passed on to the afterlife, and his position has been given to none other than Ven.
Yeah, I'm totally Ace now. He's absolutely... Yeah, he's not dead. He's fine. But I'm here instead.
Yeah, he's not dead.
Not dead, just sick.
Yes.
Could have fooled me.
And for this episode being the first episode of October, we thought it would only be fitting to bring to you that episode we teased in the first one, Paranormal Activities with Luna.
Oh, ghosts.
Ghosts and scary shit.
Spooky time.
So, yes, like I said, we do have some ghost stories to tell you, but these aren't ones that we've made up to tell around the campfire. These are ones that we have had happen to us in real life. Before we go any further, I would like to say that we do have an email, filterlesstopics@gmail.com. You can go ahead and send us topics, reviews, curse us out if you feel like it. Whatever you want to do, send through the email. We will check it, and by we, I mean Ace will harass me to check it if I forget. I guess you could also technically review us on Apple Podcasts as well. If you do, we will read your review on the show. So how's everyone doing today?
I'm good. I started another run of Baldur's Gate without actually finishing it. I finished it once, and I started it once, and I was shit. So I got through the first act, and then I restarted it and played that one all the way through. And then I started another run, and I played that one halfway through, and then I got bored. So now I'm doing a Dark Urge run.
Oh my god, me and Baldur's Gate are in a tense relationship. I'm playing it like an hour at a time right now, because every time I'm in Act 3, and every time I boot it up, I'm like, oh, something bad's happening. Please save me.
Yeah,
I'm the hero.
There was a boss fight I couldn't win, and I actually cried because I couldn't fucking beat this damn boss.
I have yet to get Baldur's Gate because I'm broke. And I have technical problems with Wi-Fi at the moment. But yeah, it's on the list. I'll eventually get it.
It's not like it's going anywhere.
Honestly,
the popularity will be going somewhere.
I doubt that.
Not anytime soon.
Not
with that hot ass elf.
Oh god, Hysterian.
God,
my
that
baby
man.
boy.
Well, speaking of games, I did start playing Cult of the Lamb again recently.
Oh, that's a good one.
People who watch my old streams or was there for the old streams, I used to play Cult of the Lamb a lot, but then I stopped playing single player games. So I've been playing Cult of the Lamb again on my off time. That's a nice one to get back into because I've realized I'm actually pretty damn good at those video games because I'm kind of getting my ass handed to me, but then again, it's a boss battle, so...
That's one of the few games...
Boss battles in that game are hard.
That's one of the few games where I've gone back and played it again in a harder difficulty. I usually start video games in the easy mode, and then if I play through it and had fun, I'll go back and try it on a harder difficulty, and I did that with Cult of the Lamb. That's how good it was.
I typically play them on normal mode, and then when I'm like, hey, this game's hard, easy mode.
Yeah, no, I'm a bitch baby. I start on easy.
Yeah, I try to
one of the games
on story mode and then slowly work up.
Yeah.
One of the games that this is relevant because it's technically a scary game, quote unquote. It's an SCP game. It's called SCP Secret Files. I beat that game on stream. And it was like a 4-act game. It only had like 4 different levels, and 2 of the 4 were actually scary. One of them was the Toaster SCP, and then the other one was Here Be Dragons. So they weren't scary. They were just like very nice ones. I'm part of their Discord, and they've been teasing other acts to the game, other SCPs to explore. So once I get everything figured out, I think I might update that game and get the DLC and play some of that too, because that game was phenomenal. The first act was there was 5 acts technically, because one of them was like a tutorial kind of like, this is how you're actually going to be playing through this game. But then the next one was, what was the name of it? I don't remember the name of the SCP itself, like the number, but the SCP was the Hanged King's Tragedy SCP. So there was a bunch of mannequins in that one, and really tapped into my fear of how much I actually despise mannequins and how much they scare me.
Oh,
Noted.
there was.
I will be sure to put that in D&D.
Oh no, please don't.
At this mall that I used to go to before I moved out here, there was in this jewelry store. It wasn't quite a mannequin. It was like a cutout of a woman that they would project a image of a woman onto so she could like talk and shit. It scared the shit out of me every time I walked past it.
No.
Every goddamn time. I wasn't expecting it, and it moved, and it scared the shit out of me.
See, mannequins in like stores don't bug me. The ones that bug me are the ones like they don't have faces and they're not like the ones that are like, oh, we're putting it in storage, so they don't have any like display on them. The ones that are just essentially quote unquote naked mannequins, those ones terrify me because they just look wrong. Like it's off. It's not something you're used to, especially ones that don't have faces.
Yeah. All right.
There's a guy out here in my city that has a whole backyard in our downtown area near some haunted train tracks of mannequins. Like blank, no clothes, empty face mannequins, just so people can see them and get scared.
That's awful. Absolutely awful.
He's a crazy man.
Speaking of scary stuff, I think it's Luna's turn. Luna's going to tell us the first story.
Oh, no. Before that, we're going to... I'm going to tell you guys a thoroughly disturbing fun fact that kind of segues from mannequins. This isn't necessarily a fun fact. I found this thing. This is I'm going to read this to you. It's awful. There is an island of dolls, and it's one of the world's one of the most haunted places in the world. It's this small island south of Mexico City is a frightening place. Perched and nailed onto the island's trees are little dolls that are said to be housed by the spirit of a little girl. According to the legend, the island's caretaker found a girl who had drowned in mysterious circumstances. The caretaker discovered a doll floating in the water, which he hung on the tree to appease the drowned girl's spirit. And it showed pictures, and it's more than one doll, and they're all over the place, and I shit myself.
All of those dolls come from the swamp. So, like, he will find dolls just washed up on shore, and he has to hang them up. Because the little girl tells him to. So it's not just like, appease the spirit. She's actively haunting him and cursing him with nightmares.
It's awful. Like,
Fucked up child.
What a spot to go for a honeymoon. Anyways.
No!
Speaking of scary things, onto the topic. Which, as we said, was times we've been haunted, or just paranormal activities in general, things that have happened to you. Mm-hmm. And to start off, we're going to start with Luna. Go ahead and tell us your first story.
So, this first one actually happened, I think like a month ago? Yeah, a month ago. To this day, me and my family are still trying to figure out what the hell was in my driveway. So, I was out late with friends. We were drinking, and I was like on the way home, and I stopped at Taco Bell, got some food, forgot I also bought Starbucks, so I had like way too many drinks in my car. When I got home, I grabbed as much as I could, went inside, and in my head I was like, shit, I'll remember the Baja Blast, I'll come back and get it. I was inside for like 10 minutes. Before I was like, fuck, I can't just have a fucking a Baja Blast in my fucking car at night. When I opened the door, my mom was like sitting in the living room, and I was like having an active conversation with her. Opened the door, took one step out, looked in the driveway, and there was this figure. It was about like 2 feet, maybe shorter. Really skinny. I would say maybe only like a few inches skinny. It was a silhouette, and when I saw it, I can see it had like this weird. Oh, it looked like shoulders almost, and you can see that it turned to look back at me. Complete silhouette, no idea what it was. When it like lifted its arms up, it only had like spare feathers. Like every now and again there was like a feather or two. And I was like, okay, can't be an owl. Those things are huge and not that skinny and don't have shoulders. So I stared at it and it started to turn a little more and I was like, fuck that shit. Went inside, closed the door and was like, oh, hey mom. So we were talking about getting like my dad because we live in Texas. So like shooty kind of thing. And I was like,
Yeah, let's shoot the demon.
my drunk ass was like, my Baja Blast is in the car though. And I opened the door again, looked out, and something I forgot to mention is that it was actively ripping apart something in my driveway. Like I can hear, I go hunting and I clean my own animals. So I know the sounds of tearing flesh. So I could hear that like that was what scared me the most and why I wanted to get my dad involved. So when I opened again, like the door again to look, it was just empty driveway and I was like, I'm drunk. Maybe I'm just too drunk. Like whatever. Slowly went to my car, keeping like an eye out. The moment I got to the edge of my driveway and was like opening the car door, I grabbed the Baja Blast, stood up, slammed the door shut, and when I looked out like over my car into the road, it was standing in the road and broke into a full sprint. And I booked it back inside, slammed the door shut. I like sat in my foyer and I was like almost on the verge of tears as my family was like, well, maybe you're just drunk. And I was just like, there's something in the
Yeah.
fucking driveway. Like someone look outside. So I said if there was blood, that means it was an animal. Because I definitely heard the sounds of like something being eaten. When I went to work for the next morning, nothing was in the driveway. There was no signs of like something being torn apart in my driveway. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a little spooky, man. And I'm still scared to go in my front yard at night. Can't look outside windows. It's terrible.
That could just very much be just like schizophrenic drunk hallucinations, but also I wouldn't be surprised if shit like that exists.
If
Like
it
I'm
was
not one of
me,
those.
like if I
Go ahead.
was drunk, I wouldn't have driven home because I would
This
have
is
been
true.
like, this is my limit. I'm gonna sleep on my friend's couch and I'll just go to work in the morning and like be a little late. I drove home. I was like, I'm sober enough to get home. The only thing was that I ended up getting Taco Bell and Starbucks because we have one that closes at like 11 nearby. So it wasn't even that late. It was like 11 p.m. When I went back to my car, it was like 11:30. So like it wasn't that late either.
Demons.
Still, no.
Demons.
That's a no thank you for me. Yeah, that's a no thank you for me.
We're naming him one day. I said Billy. Everyone else said no.
Don't
I mean,
name-
that sounds like a creepypasta type thing.
Don't name the demons. That's a bad idea.
Names
You
hold
can name the
powerful
demons.
things.
Let's show.
I'm a fey creature. They'll be a demon creature. See what happens.
So my turn. See, this is significantly less scary. This happened when we had just recently moved into the house I'm currently living in. And I was younger, and I used to have this lofted bed, so I didn't see anything. It was just sounds. Already, kind of a new house. It's like one of those like uncomfortable type of things. Like, this is my bed that I'm sleeping in, but this isn't my room type of thing. I don't know if that's a phenomenon that happens with other people.
Oh yeah.
That might just be a cat thing, but it was weird. And like maybe like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, I hear just like pounding across my floor. My recording picked it up. I seriously doubt my headphones did, but just like pounding across my floor. And I look over my bed because, like I said, I have like this lofted bed. And my shoes, which I had put directly next to my door. I vividly remember putting them directly next to my door, were in the center of my room. and it scared the shit out of me. Little kid cat like hid under the blankets because that's supposed to do something. The weirdest part about this is the fact that I never once remember turning my light on, but I remember being able to actually see it, so it could have just very much been little kid imagination. But at the same time, I know 110% for a fact I put my shoes by the door. And I heard something pounding across my floor, and then they were directly in the middle of my room. It was horrible. Like, I am thoroughly convinced this house is haunted.
I think most places are.
It's almost like
no,
we're all built
okay.
on a ancient Indian burial ground. All of America.
So, I don't... We had a D&D session last night. So, Luna, I don't remember if you I don't remember if you remember me saying this, but last night at around... not even around. At exactly 11:45, there was someone pounding at my door.
I
But I
remember
looked outside.
hearing the pounding, and then you being like, "Hold on, I think someone's like at my door," and then you came back and was like, "I guess it's nothing."
Oh no, I didn't leave my room. I actually went to go shut my door and lock it, and then grab my Bowie knife because I looked out my window and there was no one there, and my dogs were losing their shit, but there was no one at my door. The worst part about it is I was the only one home. Like, I was at home with headphones on because I was playing D&D. I didn't have headphones on, but at home by myself, and there was pounding at my door for at least like 5 or 10 minutes. But there was no one at the door. It was awful.
Yeah, haunted house.
At one point in time, I saw like a couple walking, which I thought was weird because it was 12 o'clock at night and there was 2 people walking just on the sidewalk. So maybe they just have bad sleep schedule like me. Maybe they weren't actually there. I don't know. But last night was kind of scary.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. Ven, moving on to you.
Okay, so these stories I didn't experience directly because I was like 1 and 2 at the time, but they've been passed down for a while and they're pretty fun. So, with the very first apartment that my family lived in right after I was born, in the hallway there was a access point up into like the crawl space in the attic, and directly underneath that access point, the ghost hung out. She would generally just hang out in the hallway. There was a ghost that just hung out there. And there was one time that I guess my aunt, who was pregnant with my cousin at the time, was babysitting me, and she got really pissy with my mom when she came home, was like, "Why didn't you tell me there's a ghost in your hallway?" And my mom's like, What do you mean? She's like, "I ran through her on my way to throw up."
Oh no!
What? Wait, this is like an actual thing?
Like a ghost.
An apparition.
Yeah, she ran through her on the way to the bathroom to throw up because she was like 9 months pregnant.
That's actually really funny though.
There was another time that that family knew the house was haunted and the ghost was there, and there was one time that they went out and walked the dog and were coming back home, and the dog wouldn't come in the house, and my mom was so sure that the dog was freaking out because of the ghost and was like, "Oh no, she won't come inside." Her leash was stuck on the stairs.
Damn, poor dog.
Yeah, it was not the ghost that time, but yeah, the ghost would apparently come into the bedroom and look over my mom's shoulder at me when she was like changing me and stuff, and my mom would have to tell her to fuck off because she was fine. She didn't need the ghost's help changing my diaper.
It's a benevolent ghost.
Yeah, she never did anything bad. And my mom never got the courage to go up in the attic and see it was up there, that the ghost was so insistent about standing underneath the attic door.
I mean, I wouldn't either. I would say no to that one. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna say I don't believe in ghosts, but these... Okay, so I have 3 stories on here. In reality, I have actually 4 stories, but that is it. I only have 4 stories, not counting the person pounding at my door. That is all I have. I have 4 stories, that is it. I've never had any other sort of paranormal activity. happened to me. So I'm not gonna say they don't exist. I'm just gonna say they haven't fucked with me.
Yeah, and like I said, those are obviously I was 2, so I don't remember the ghost in any detail at all.
Yeah.
But that's the stories that have always been told to me about the ghost that lived in that first apartment.
Maybe my white half
I mean,
is
at
a
least it
little
was
too
a chill
white.
ghost.
I have too many stories.
Maybe my white half is a little too white.
That's what I'm just sitting here like, okay.
Well, I'm not saying like it's necessarily a problem. I'm just saying, me personally, I have never had any sort of one-on-one experience. I've heard that I've had experience with ghosts, but similar to what Ven said, it's nothing that like I remember. So maybe, maybe not. Maybe they're just not fucking with me for some reason.
I also just have shit memory from ADHD and depression, so I probably have forgotten several pretty good stories.
There's some things that you don't forget, and I feel like ghost stories is for me would classify as one of them. Like I also have an absolute dog shit memory.
Oh fuck, I just
but I don't think I'm ever gonna.
I remembered another one.
You want to go ahead and tell that one before we go on to the next one, or you want to save it?
Don't know if it really counts as a ghost story. It's more of a UFO story.
Oh hell yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm just adding this one in here because I don't really remember better to put it. So there was I grew up on a ranch. I know Kat knows this. I haven't had a chance to talk to Luna before. I grew up on a ranch. I grew up on 3 acres. So of course one of the fun things to do with your friends when you have property is to camp out like a couple thousand feet from your
Luna's
house.
familiar with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I also have a ranch. It's great.
Yeah, you throw a tent and get a couple friends, and so we did that anyway. Me and a couple of friends, we had camped out because it was summer and it was nice. Woke up in the morning, and
Those are 2 words that I would never associate together: summer and nice.
anyway, so we got up and we were, climbing out of our tent all nice and neat, looked to the horizon, and there was, the only way I can describe it is it looked like a satellite, but there's no fucking way you should have been able to see the solar panels on a goddamn satellite from Earth.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
If it was close.
Yeah,
like-
satellites are. I'm not saying it's not a UFO. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Well,
I'm just like sometimes you can see satellite the solar panels if it's close enough.
I believe you, but in my memory anyway, it was much bigger than it would have been if you could just see it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was like my youngest friend was freaking out the most, and we were like, no, it's totally just a satellite. It's nothing. Let's go inside. Let's go.
No.
Let's just completely disregard what just happened.
Basically.
My father's been having my whole family, honestly, my ranch recently, when we go out there, every like one night of the weekend we'll go, everyone who's there has a huge like UFO experience, and we're not sure what's going on because it's military airspace, so nothing's allowed to fly besides military stuff. But what they're seeing out there is almost as if it's like light effect drones, and they're making like weird shapes and like moving in weird ways before just completely vanishing.
It's summer. It might
And
be ball lightning.
No, it's like it does like my dad
Ball
has a
lightning.
Yeah, it's a thing.
That's
My
something I
dad
haven't heard.
has-
No, I
Sorry. My dad has like a video, and it's like some weird shit, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
So this story is the story in my life, right?
Uh-oh.
It's the story that no one can explain. I tell it to a lot of people, and I remember my grandma once, like when I told it to her, she was like, "Well, I don't know, like maybe it's like a guardian angel." And my grandma's very Catholic, born and raised in like South Texas. She's Mexican. Her whole family's Mexican, so they were like devout Catholic, right? So she was like, it has to have been a guardian angel, because the way I told the story to her was like, she was like, I can't deny it. Like, that's creepy shit. Everyone in my family is still trying, like, they tried to ignore it at this point because this would mean that there's something in my closet. And when
Oh.
I was 12, I woke up to my whole neighborhood, because we're a big dog neighborhood. All the dogs are barking. It was annoying. It was fall, almost winter. It was a school night, and it was like during the time of my life before the depression fully kicked in. Um, this is a turning point actually. So like it's the night before the depression kicks in. Um, and I was super annoyed because I would sleep like 8 to 10 hours a night. And I remember getting up and like I'm about to go and open like the window to see like what the hell is getting all the dogs in the neighborhood upset. Like even my dog from the other room was barking. And like as I'm about to like go and grab at the window, which is just above my bed, I hear like a voice say stop. And I do, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I look over and there's like this shadowy figure of like a guy, like maybe I would say like teenage to maybe early 20s, because like I can see the face in my head. Um, and I remember just staring at him and being like, nah, fuck this shit. Like something's wrong. But I was still like half asleep, so I was like, like what? Like I pick up my pillow and I just chuck it at him. Like I'm not dealing with any of this bullshit. At that point, I was like, I'm just gonna go back to bed. But the dog started getting angrier, and my dog started like freaking out. He was whining. He wanted to go outside. He didn't like being in here. Um, and so I go to grab the window again, and like the guy in my closet just goes, no, don't look outside. Look at me. And I look over and I'm just like, what the fuck? And I like the moment I start
Who are
looking over,
you?
I start falling asleep again. And it was like a weird. It was weird. I like to this day I think I was just really tired. But I
Uh
can
huh.
vividly remember his face, and I can remember him like holding my pillow. Like it didn't hit him. He just like caught it. And as I was like going back to bed, he was like, "It don't look outside." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And I fell asleep, and I woke up the next day like with my pillow like on my chest, like just placed on my bed. And I remember like sitting up and like everything kicked back into me, and I was like, "Oh my fucking god." Like someone was in my room last night. And I share my room with a sibling, and I remember like going to my parents and like asking them about it. My mom's like, "Yeah, the dog was just upset. Not really sure what was going on. Like no one was in your room. There was no way anyone went into your room. I was in the living room all night." And I was just like, "Then who the fuck is in my like my to this day my dogs, any dog I've had refuses to go near my closet. I can't like if my closet's left open, which nowadays it usually is, I can't look directly at it at night, like in the dark. So like I have certain lights that stay on near it, just so that it's not fully darkened, and it sometimes is very comforting, but other times just I like you can tell when the energy shifts, and I don't want to be anywhere near my closet.
That's that's great. Was there like? Do you know if there was something outside?
Never looked outside. I
Yeah.
can't look
So
outside at night. It's one of my biggest fears now. I get terrified if I look at a window at nighttime without the blinds down.
that's creepy.
Yeah, it started a whole phobia. Like I can't look outside at night. I like
I
if I
mean,
open
I've
the
had
door, I
things.
can look outside, but I can't look through a window.
I've had things that start phobias for me. I have This is spoiler for one of the episodes I think we're supposed to do coming up. But one of the spoilers. One of the phobias that I have, I there's a name for it, but I chalk it up to just a phobia of quote unquote the unknown, the fear of the unknown. Um I can't open doors at nighttime.
Ooh.
Like it's like a paralyzing fear of I cannot open doors. I can't open blinds. Like the curtains in my bedroom. I opened them last night because of the whole pounding at my door thing. But I kid you not, like my blood was running cold through. Like it's a genuine paralyzing fear, and it's only sometimes. Like similar, I'm assuming like what you said, the energy change. It's that just sometimes I can't open a door, and I don't know why. There was one time I got up and went to the bathroom and shut the door behind me, and then I flushed the toilet, washed my hands, and then just stood in my bathroom because I couldn't open the door.
Oof.
So it's a genuine. I don't know what started this phobia, but probably the watching of scary games when I know that I'm a little bitch baby.
It's
But yeah, I
wild.
can't open doors.
It's wild when you feel the energy shift in something. Because, like I said, I can stay, like, my desk sits next to my closet door. And my closet is currently open. I'm in arm's reach of everything in my closet. Um, but, like, one moment it becomes, like, not, like, you're just not thinking about the space at all. And when the energy does shift, and it does shift, it suddenly feels uncomfortable. Like you're suddenly hyper aware of something being nearby and you're just like, "No, this feels wrong," but you can't pinpoint why. And it's one of those things where I can't look away once my closet shifts.
Yeah, it's not like, hey, that's evil. It's just, hey, that's uncomfortable.
Oh man.
For like, for me, one of the things, like, I don't know why I do this to myself, but when I was around my brother's age and growing up, more recently, I've been allowed to do this, but I used to not be allowed to shut my door for whatever reason. My parents are just like that. Um, but so I would sleep with my door open, and so it's become just habit of me not shutting my door when I go to bed. Mainly because I have a cat in here, and I really don't feel like shutting her into my room because her litter box is in the bathroom.
Oh.
But I'll show you guys a picture after the recording, and then I might send it to Ace or whoever edits this episode. My closet, or not my closet, my hallway is just pitch black. And my bed is in front of my door. So I see into this pitch black hallway. And there's some days where it's that paralyzing fear of, I'm going to die. Something is going to turn the corner into my hallway, and I'm going to die.
My
So it's
grandmother-
yeah, my house makes me uncomfortable.
Well, my
And
my uh my grandmother said you should never have your bed face the door. That's bad. That's bad luck, bad juju. It
well,
invites the
there's
devil to
nowhere
pull you
else.
through.
Well, there's nowhere else for me to put my bed. So,
Just screwed to the bad luck.
yeah, I mean I could technically put it where my desk is, but then my bed would be in front of a window. So, my bedroom's kind of a little messed up. My When I had the lofted bed, it used to be um against the wall where my desk is now because I would be able to put stuff underneath of it. But no, my bed's kind of stuck where it is because I don't have a anywhere else in my room to put it.
The room was not shaped with good vibes in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many rooms aren't.
Yeah. It's just like I said, I'll show you guys what it looks like, but it's probably one of the most uncomfortable things I've had to deal with is sleeping, which probably attributes to my crippling insomnia.
Yeah, not having a good, comfortable place to sleep will do that.
Yeah. Anyways, so that was Luna. Oh, up to me. Perfect.
Yeah.
So this one didn't happen in my house. This is another one of those very few memories. I actually like the name of this one. This one's called The Purring Shadow. This is a very like benevolent ghost story. Also could just be me being tired, but I don't remember being tired. We went to my grandma's house, and on my dad's side of the family, she lives in Kansas. And our family was staying in the basement, which has 2 bedrooms. No, it has a bedroom and 2 bathrooms, and then like a living room area, and then more of like a family room. The living room is kind of like a kitchen, has a family room, and then has another room off to the side. And I remember sleeping in the living room kitchen area, and very, very vivid just vision of this shadow walking across the room. And at first I was scared because there's a shadow walking across the room. But then it like looked at me with like these bright yellow eyes and came up and laid on my chest, and it was like a shadow of a cat. And it was specifically, this is very important to the story, it was specifically a cat with no tail. And the reason why this is important is I went to bed because I didn't get any sort of I'm in danger type of vibes. And I woke up the next morning, and just like an offhand mention to my grandma, I'm like, you had cats, right? And she goes, yeah, I think she said 3 cats. And then she listed them, and one of them name was Stumpy because he had no tail. And he died in the basement.
Aww.
So
it was cute, and then it wasn't.
Stumpy haunts the basement.
Well, yeah, Stumpy haunts the basement, and he's a chill little ghost cat. He's pretty chill. Also, that could have just been me being super tired, but like I said, I don't remember being tired. I was wide awake. So, yeah. Also, that basement's terrifying because there's no windows in it, and I live in Florida. I don't have basements, so I don't really experience this. But when something has no windows, even when something does have windows and they're covered, like my bedroom, light still seeps in. Basements are pitch black.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And for a little while, at the bottom of the stairs of this basement was this stuffed rabbit that was literally, you look at it and go, hell no, and then go back up the stairs.
Yeah.
So
pure darkness, though, like, I've visited the Carlsbad Caverns, which are a really deep, really big cave system.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things they do, like 2 different times when you're on the tour there, is they turn off all the lights. That is the most dark anything has ever been.
That's when I feel this.
Yeah, so
which is probably the edgiest thing I can say.
it was in Texas. There's a cave system. I don't remember the name of the cave
Probably
system.
the Carlsbad Caverns.
It's the cave where Markiplier recorded one of the endings from A Heist with Markiplier. The Indiana Jones parody ending.
I'm not sure, but the Carlsbad Caverns are in Texas, so.
The reason I say that is because I was in the cave and I turned to my my cousin. I'm like, this cave feels familiar. And they go, right? Yeah, I feel the same thing. And I went, it looks like the cave that Markiplier recorded A Heist with Markiplier. And she goes, oh, you're right, it does. And then we looked it up afterwards, and it was.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. But that one, they did the same thing where they turned the lights off, and you're like, oh, this is very uncomfortable.
The really funny thing...
I don't feel good.
The funny thing is when they tell you to wave your hand in front of your face, and some people can see their hand in front of their face, even though there's physically no way to see it.
Yeah, it's not... That's not a very comfortable darkness. They also said that, like, that type of darkness can literally drive you crazy.
I'm not surprised.
Like, yeah, because then you start seeing things.
Mm-hmm. Your brain starts making shit up.
Yeah, it's... I don't fuck with darkness.
I love darkness.
Okay.
Well, my next story doesn't have anything to do with darkness, unfortunately, but...
that's scary now.
So, I know it's not very scary either. But when I was 10. So we moved. It's like I said, we lived on a ranch. We moved out there. My family moved, and my grandma, my grandpa, and my 2 cousins who they were raising also moved out to this. So we shared a 3-acre piece of property. My grandpa, when I was about 10, got cancer and passed away. And after that, the house was definitely haunted. People would, especially you'd get footsteps down the hallway occasionally. And there were several times growing up where I could have sworn I saw my grandpa like out of the corner of my eye. There was one time I was walking toward the barn to feed the goats, and I could have sworn there was somebody standing in the doorway looking in at the goats. And when I got a little bit closer, it was gone. He's
just watching over.
Yeah, he's just
I'm
checking
tired
on.
of this, Grandpa. That's too deep.
What?
That thing from
The holes. I'm done digging, Papa. That's too damn bad.
There was my grandma chose to cremate him, and we buried the ashes underneath the tree because that's supposed to be good for the tree. This salty motherfucker, he was a sailor. He killed 2 trees. The 2 neighboring trees were just dead.
Damn.
And one of them was one of the native trees, which was it's more of a shrub. It's a red shank. You cannot kill those fucking things. You can cut them off at the ground and they will grow back. And he fucking killed it.
See, like I said, I don't, other than the cat, I've never really had experience with actual hauntings. Apparently I've had said experiences. Like, you can ask my grandma, you can ask my mom. They have had experiences involving me.
Yeah.
But I've never had any sorts of, like, I actually see the thing other than maybe the cat, if it actually existed.
Yeah, well, the seeing thing, like I said, it was sort of at the corner of my eye. It's like you glance out of the corner of your eye. It's like, oh, hey, Grandpa, wait. There's no Grandpa.
My grandma.
Oh, hey, Grandpa.
My grandmother's house. They moved in my great-grandfather because, unfortunately, he lost his wife. He needed, like, assistance, and they needed him to be somewhere. He was already really old, and they didn't think he was gonna last long anyway. So they took care of him in, like, their garage. They set up, like, a little room for him there. And when he passed, it was very obvious that something changed in that house. Because me and my cousins, after all of my aunts and uncles moved out, my dad included, when we would hang out there, we would see, like, a very particular shadow with, like, a very particular type of hat that he would always wear. This, like, not like a fedora, but one of those, like, bowl cap kind of thing, where it was like a bowl with, like, a rim on it kind of hats. And it was just always in the windows. Always, the bowler hats. Always just looking through and watching us, and we would just be like, there he is. He became violent, so we don't own that house anymore. He picked up my cousin, slammed him against the wall, started throwing things across the house. Yeah, we don't have that house anymore. He got mad.
Get out my fucking house.
It's not his house either. We were the one. My grandma built that house.
Nah, this is my house now, motherfuckers.
Pretty much. Hope that new family who bought it, hope they're okay.
You look in the news. Oh, they're dead.
Aw,
Mysterious
Grandpa.
circumstances.
Great grandpa.
Mysterious circumstances, my ass.
Yeah.
We would know.
My mom and grandma actually had a priest out a couple of times trying to bless that house to try to get, because there was sort of 2 aspects to the haunting that everyone else experienced. I mean, I experienced it a little bit too. There was the way that they described it was that when my grandpa left, he opened the door and didn't close it behind him, so there was other shit leaking through that wasn't particularly friendly. Yeah, there was one time my grandma had gotten a new puppy, and I wanted to, hang out with her. I wanted to spend the first night with the new puppy so she wasn't lonely and scared. I left partway through the night because I woke up in terror and was just scared shitless and just left. I was like, nope, fuck that shit. Evil ghost, fuck off, I'm done. Sorry, puppy, you're being abandoned to the ghosts.
Oh.
You are a sacrifice.
But yeah, nobody liked hanging out in that house. They all hung out at our house.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even though I've said this several times already, I've never had experiences, but I respect. Like, if a ghost were to be like, "Hey, I'm here now," I'd be like, "We chill. I won't bother you. Won't fuck with you if you don't fuck with me. We chill. We could be friends."
I tried
So
to do that.
I have respect.
But yeah,
Mainly because it could probably fuck my shit up.
it was mostly just like bad vibes in that house. It's most what everyone experienced, and yeah, they had a priest out a few times trying to bless it, and it never worked.
Yeah,
I,
that's
we talked about
that's
getting
a
a
no
priest.
thank you on my part.
We were like, we should get a priest, and then we all kind of awkwardly looked at each other and went, but that's our great grandfather. Like, aw, we're gonna fucking exorcise my great grandfather?
Sorry, Grandpa, you're too
Damn.
scary.
Yes.
No, we left him.
Sorry, Grandpa. You better get those fucking jumping jacks in.
Nah, he stayed. Hopefully, he's not as violent with them.
Hopefully.
So is that your last story? You got another one?
Oh shoot, I do have another one. Well, this this is definitely the scariest, and it's not mine. It's my grandfather's. Uh, one of the
The one who died?
no, not the one who died. Not my great grandfather was the one who haunts the house. My grandfather, my he's still alive, and he is a man who rarely shows much emotion. Um, but he
So when he
when
does, you know shit's real.
yeah, and this is one of those things where he doesn't show fear specifically. Like he's paranoid, but he will not show the fear part. So when he came and would tell this story and he would look genuinely terrified, we all knew like this is wild. My family used to own a lot of land. Like not directly, it was definitely a long time ago, like maybe 100 years ago, if not more. They owned a lot of land. And one of the land that kind of got bought up was a land of an old fort where a battle was fought at. And if you know anything about Texas history, Texas battles between Texas and Mexico were not friendly things. Um,
Hmm.
Especially if it involved any kind of Native Americans who lived in the area as well, especially if they got dragged into it. It was always very tragic. And this fort was one of the places where a lot of people died at. Um, it got cleaned up. People were sent off to their families to be buried because there wasn't really a good town nearby at that time for like a cemetery to be put up. Um, it that fort then became a hot spring hotel or a natural spring hotel because there was a really nice natural spring nearby. Um, and then it just
That sounds
became
like
like
it'll
a
please the
museum.
ghosts.
Yes, going to a spring with ghosts. But later it became a museum. That was part of the house of the people who owned it. So the people who own that property now opened up the museum for part of the old fort, and then they had their house like attached, like built attached. But when my grandfather went to hang out with this family member, they were like, "Hey, do you want to sleep in the house that we're building? It's a little janky. Like there might be like scorpions and stuff who get in. If you're not comfortable doing that, we don't have a roof. You can always sleep in the fort." And my grandfather went, "Oh, fuck that. I want a roof over my head. I want a bed. I don't want to wake up with scorpions in my bed." So he slept in the fort. Um,
Huh.
and dumbass motherfucker went to bed, and he said that he woke up and didn't open his eyes at first because the first thing he heard was like chains being dragged around. And he was like, "Oh, it's just my cousin.
Nope.
It's just my cousin trying to be like a little shit because I made fun of the fact that his house has no roof at the moment. Like it's just him being a bitch." So he like rolled over, was ignoring it, and the chains like continued and got closer. And then they just stopped. Like all sound stopped, and my grandfather's like, "I'm gonna open my eyes. My cousin's gonna be there, and I'm gonna punch him in the fucking face." And when he did, he said, like the way he described it to my family was that he felt his blood run cold and he thought he was gonna die in that moment. The hairs on like the back of his neck, up his arms, just kind of slowly like prickled up. He had like goosebumps all over the place. He was freezing because the person who was in front of him was a man who very much looked like uh, he said it looked kind of like rotting. Like he was alive, but he had like these injuries and this like decay to him that looked wrong. He looked injured and sickly and also just angry. Not because he's mad at something, just that he was like annoyed angry. which my grandfather's like, that's not the type of anger you want to see. And he was wearing this like makeshift militia uniform. Like it wasn't so much a soldier uniform, just something that someone threw together. So you can see like the belts. You can see that it had some sort of like insignia. He said that he had chains around like his wrists, like big those old school like buckles with the chains on them, shackles. And he was just staring down, like almost squatted down, staring directly at my grandfather's face. And my grandfather said he didn't know what to do in that moment, so he just stayed there, staring. And eventually, my grandfather got like exhausted from like this staring contest with the ghost and just passed out. And when he woke up in the morning, like obviously he was gone, but he said there was like a moment where while he was like drifting off to sleep and he was like, no, like this is gonna be the end of me. He said that even as his eyes closed, that he felt this man just like he would feel like this cold breath on his face the whole time until he was just out.
That's awful. So remember when I said that? Well, I said two things. Remember when I said I was gonna show you the hallway?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, remember when I said I can't open doors?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm not opening my door tonight.
You could send it later.
That's only one story that's happened to my family out there. We all want to go out there because if my grandfather says he saw something, my grandfather doesn't lie. So we're like, oh man, we all want to go see what this fucking ghost is gonna do. So we all talked about going out there. At one point, my uncle went out and stayed the night with his then fiance, now wife, and they slept.
Then fiance, now
This
ex.
is white people shit. The ghost
It's
thing.
funny because they're all Mexican. So like you think it would be, well, he's Mexican and then his fiance was white, but it was my uncle's idea to sleep in the barn of all things instead of like the house um or like the fort, because he was like, well, let's see what the fuck happens in the barn.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that the barn was like not completed, and he said that all night he just heard walking on the roof of the barn. Like, and it was like one of those tin roof barns. So we were like, well, do you think it was an animal? Yeah, we were like, do you think it's like an animal? And he's like, well, it's one of those tall garage barns, you know. So there's no need to be on top of there. It's like a roof. It's just a roof barn. So there's no ladder to get up there. The animal who would be making heavy footsteps like that would have had to, one, climb up and just walk around and then climb down. And if it was a bird, you would hear like the talons, or like you would hear little pitter patters. So
You
both
would
my
hear scrapes, not
yeah,
footsteps.
scrapes, not footsteps, not thumps. And my uncle says he like swears that you can like you can see on the roof where there's like dents from someone taking like heavy steps. I don't believe that part because that man has done stupider things for less, but it's definitely one of those things where it lines up to all my cousins still wanting to go out there and just have fun in that haunted little fort. But unfortunately, they're closer to my grandfather than they are to his kids. So it's hard for us to get in contact and be like, hey, can we sleep in your fort, please?
That's a weird phone call. I know, white people shit.
100%. Like I said, I'm half white. And when it comes to ghosts, right up in there.
Yeah, like, I've been on ghost tours, haven't seen shit, and all that. Like, ghost tours because I was dragged along, but also you're learning about the history of this place, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't fuck with ghosts.
Ghost tours are all just like, it's a tourist trap. So yeah, it's like the scariest stories that you would hear of that place. But that means that the people who are stops on that tour are aware of the kind of stories and signs that they can put up in their own business to make it more attractive. New Orleans, hotspot.
Yo, New Orleans. I went to New Orleans during Mardi Gras, and the entire time I was there, I'm just like, I couldn't place it. I don't like being here. This place just feels wrong.
That's because a lot of people
Like,
died there, Kat. A
yeah,
lot.
but it's like this place, like, okay, first of all, The first thing we saw when we got out of our car to go to our hotel was not a dead bird or a dying bird, just the wings of a bird.
Cool.
And my grandma's like, yeah, that's some voodoo shit right there. I'm like, you don't say. So, yeah, that was the first thing we saw. I'm like, yeah, we're not fucking with this city. This city makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to be here. Meanwhile, my cousin, the same one that went into the cave and we were talking about the Markiplier stuff, she was eating it up. She loved it. And I'm like, no, fuck this shit.
I
Don't want to be here.
I went to several churches in New Orleans because like I said, a lot of my family is like Catholic. And there's a lot of Catholic churches just in the area. And I remember our hotel was right next door to one. Our hotel itself was just a Holiday Inn on a corner, and right next door was an old Catholic church. And I could not, for the life of me, pass that church without feeling, one, uncomfortable, but two, breaking into a sneezing fit. Like, I couldn't stop sneezing until we were on a different block. And another big church is that, like, I think it's that big Jackson Square one that has, like, the real creepy graveyard in the back. It's on, like, all of their, like, half of their merch. The moment I get past the fence, I'll break into another sneezing fit. But, like, everywhere else in the city, I was fine.
Are you allergic to ghosts?
I don't know. It was specifically the churches in New Orleans that kept on making me break into sneezing fits. And it was like I was always so mad because I was like, I hate sneezing. And my family's just like, are you okay? Like, this is genuinely concerning.
Allergic to bad vibes.
The ye old pepper ghost.
Okay,
moving on.
Yeah.
Well, I just punched my microphone.
Cat's last story.
So my last story, like I said, this happened a couple days ago. So I was on the phone with my girlfriend, and I think it was like, so my mom had woken me up because she needed me to do something. So I had woken up at like 6:00, and then I went back to sleep, and then woke up at around 8 or 9. And when I woke up, my mom had left. So I did the thing she wanted me to do, and then she left to go to work. And about like 30 minutes passed, so maybe it was like around 8:00 when I went to sleep again and woke up at around 9. I was only asleep for a little bit. But while I was sleeping, my girlfriend, I fell asleep on call with her, and she said when I had woken up, she goes, "Are you home alone?" And I went, "Yeah." She goes, "There was someone telling you to wake up." Like, right next to your phone.
Ugh.
Like a feminine voice telling you to wake up, and it was saying your name. I'm like, huh? She goes, yes, it was saying, Cat, you need to wake up. Obviously not my actual name, not Cat, but I'm like, yeah, I'm the only one here. And she goes, I'm dead serious. I'm not joking with you. I'm like, that's horrifying. And she goes, yeah. Are you sure you're home alone? And I went, yeah. Mom left to go to work. That's why I went back to sleep. She goes, yeah, there was most definitely someone telling you to wake up for at least an hour.
Yikes. Persistent.
So, maybe. Well, so I don't dream, typically. So this was also one of the days where I was actually dreaming. So, was it correlating? I don't know. But yeah, it was, I woke up and was like, you're joking, right? And she goes, no, I'm dead serious. I'm like, oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Well, at least
Yeah, hopefully it was like huh?
At least your girlfriend stayed to be like, man, I hope it's okay.
I hope he's not dead. Well, I'm also thinking, like, since you told about the dude in your closet, it's like, maybe it's just like a benevolent, like, just chilling to make sure I'm okay.
Dude in my closet's an
Also, like I said,
Okay.
he is? Dude, he protected you from what was outside the window.
It's one of those things where, like, yeah, every now and again, it's like, dude in the closet's just like, yeah, everything's gonna be okay. And then the other time, he's like, I'm gonna throw your bookshelf down. And you're just like, hey! I need that.
You didn't forget about me, did you? Yeah. Boom. How about now, bitch? But no, like I said, I don't fuck with ghosts, and that was genuinely terrifying. Anyways,
So the time
I've seen
I
the last
Then-
story. The last story name is wild.
the Winchester Mansion.
Yeah, that's a scary place.
Yeah, so I've been to the Winchester Mansion. It's cool as shit, really. So for anyone who doesn't know, the Winchester rifle was obviously a very popular, and I think still is a very popular gun. And the wife of the man who invented the Winchester rifle outlived him and was very wealthy because the Winchester rifle did so well. But she went a bit crazy in the years after her husband died and began being haunted by all the people who were killed by the Winchester rifles. And through seances and various meetings with the ghosts, came to the conclusion that she would have to continue construction on their mansion forever. Basically, if she stopped construction on the mansion, the ghosts would kill her. So she just kept building and building in nonsense ways because that's what the ghosts were telling her to do. So, and I've been there. It's fucking weird. There's doorways that lead to nowhere or just to the outside. There's stairways that lead nowhere. It's also just because it was haphazard and not pre-planned. There's just hallways that there's like one area where there's a channel in the middle of the house that goes like straight down all the way up to the sky, and there's like stairwells that wrap around it. It's weird. But of course it's a tourist attraction, so a lot of the main areas that they show you, the energies have been kind of wiped out from people passing through them so much. But if you like look into the deeper rooms, it's the guy. There's bad vibes in there.
Scary.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Telling ghost stories, 9:00 at night. I thoroughly scared.
This is my shit. I watch those ghost videos all the time. Last night I was watching The Watchers nonstop. Oh, this is my vibe.
Oh man, have you listened to the Magnus Archives?
No, but like it's on my list.
Oh god,
but
it's
I hear
so
that
good.
it's a lot.
It's so good.
I used to watch SCP stuff before bed, and it would always be like the wholesome SCPs like Bullet Cat or the Tickle Monster or what was the other one? The Tube Monster or the Pipe Monster or whatever, the kid that's made out of cardboard. And like all these other ones that are more benevolent, kind of, they'd be classified as safe, or they're just they're not necessarily horror stories. And then every once in a while I'll stumble across one that's like, yeah, so this is the scariest SCP ever. I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it. And then halfway through I'm like, it's 12:00 at night, why did I watch this one?
But
So yeah, I'm a little titty baby.
what happened at the mansion?
Eventually she died, and the mansion was never finished, was the idea, because obviously if she's finished the mansion, it would be bad. So she never stopped building up until her death. She continued construction. When I went there, like I said, I didn't really experience much. There's not a lot of historical hauntings really there. Some people have seen her around, and when I was there, it was just a lot of the energies in the main hallways you walk through had been wiped out from so many people passing through it. But deeper in the house, if you like looked into the rooms, yeah, there was stuff in there that you didn't want to mess with.
Did you go in any of the creepier rooms, or did you just look in
This
and
thing,
go like, oh, fuck that?
Yeah, well, they've got like roped off walkway, like a pathway through the house that you're allowed to walk in, and you're not allowed to go in deeper into the rooms themselves. So you can like look into them.
They're like, you don't want to go in
Yeah,
this
it's
room.
like,
But I do. No, you don't.
yeah, it's like yes, it's spooky. One of the weirder spots was sort of this like covered walkway area where it was just, there weren't a lot of people walking around down there. And it was definitely creepy under there. The house was cool, like I said. The house was really cool, but didn't get haunted while we were there. But it's a really cool place.
Are you sure she just wasn't insane?
I mean, potentially. That's nothing.
I think
Like, yeah, I'm being haunted. Ma'am, you have, like, the worst case of schizophrenia I have ever seen in my entire life. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean,
I
that's...
think one of the uh, funny parts of that story is that she was told by like a median, I believe, to build
Yeah, I think you're right.
nonstop. But then she contacted the ghosts and were like, "Hey, ghosts, what should I do? Like, how should I keep you away? Don't listen to the ghosts. What the fuck's wrong with you?"
I think she would disappear like into her seance room or whatever she was doing, and then come back with the plans to give to her builders and be like, "Here, build this nonsense." And they were just like, "Fine, you're paying for it." There was at one point during the construction when one of the towers collapsed, and apparently it was like a big deal, and construction stopped for a while.
The ghosts.
That's horrifying.
They found a way in.
They knocked the tower down. The construction stopped. Construction can't stop, or she gets dead. Yeah.
I wonder if she did something during that time then. Like, I wonder if she, like, started building something stupid, like, herself, just to keep it going.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't.
It's just like a pile of bookshelves with nails sticking out of it.
There also is... They pointed a few of them out, but the number 13 is all over that house. Like, there's 13 peg hooks on the wall for hats, and there's 13 towel bars, or there's 13 window panes, and just...
Speaking of... Timeout. Speaking of 13, fun fact, this is the 13th Filterless episode.
Ooh.
Oh!
There's a Friday the 13th
Winchester
in
would be
October,
so
too, this
proud.
year.
Really?
Yeah.
God, I love 13.
I've got a few Friday the 13th tattoos.
I need to go do that. I have a place in mind, but I don't think... Like, my tattoo artist sometimes does like Friday the 13th tattoos. He's just scared of me at the moment, so we'll figure that out. I have no tattoos. I've been working with this guy for a while because his wife is my piercer. So he's scared that something's gonna happen if I get tattooed. So we'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
I mean, you've spontaneously burst into flames, but that was God's doing, so...
God wanted me dead!
I don't know if you listened to that episode, Fen, did you?
I listened to part of it. I don't think I got to that story.
Yeah, so, long story short, Luna lit on fire because they said something along the lines of, God can strike me down if I'm wrong, at church.
Oh, no, yeah, I
about
did.
Black Butler.
I did hear that. I remember that story now. Yeah, I did hear that one.
I was talking about Sebastian from Black Butler, and I was saying how hot he was.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, God can strike me down if I'm wrong. And then I combusted.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people that, like, I don't believe in superstition, blah, blah, blah. And then shit happens, and I'm like, but what if it does exist? Like, the whole wake up situation that happened, that was horrifying. And that happened, like, 3 days ago.
I made a habit to walk around my house, and because I have something in my house. I don't know what. Besides a closet guy, there's something else. And it got to the point where it was so bad that I have now a cross and like a little holy medallion above my door because there was something in my hallway. And I remember I was hanging out with my dog, and like my dog perked up on my bed, and he was like staring down the hall. And I was like, oh, I don't want to, like, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired. I don't care if my sibling's making food in the kitchen. Like, we're going to bed. And then you just hear the gnarliest person growl. And I sat up.
Yeah, the door is staying shut tonight.
I got pissed. I thought it was my sibling just trying to scare me. And so I called out to them, and I was like, yo, stop being a bitch. And they came up, and like I heard them move from the kitchen. And they're like, what? And I like at that moment I was like, oh. And like I sat up and I stared into an empty hallway. And it was just like, oh shit, they're not there. And like at that same time of that realization, I just started hearing like heavy panting. And I was like, oh no. So I ran through it because I was not gonna stay trapped in a room. So I was like, well, risk it for the biscuit. And I ran through the hallway into the kitchen.
This isn't my story. This is actually Markiplier's story. he had this situation where I don't even think he knows what happens. From the story that he's told, it sounded as if to this day he might not still know what happened, but he was in his recording office and he had called out for his girlfriend, or Amy said something to him, and he responded. And she responded back from the kitchen, even though she very clearly called out his name from their bedroom. So he was in the doorway of the bedroom and went, "Did you say something?" And then she called from the kitchen what he wanted for lunch.
Yeah, I've heard him tell that
And yeah, so it's possible shit exists. I ain't fucking with it. Ghosts have my 100% respect.
I'm scared to say otherwise in my house.
Well, yeah, with the haunted, it sounds like it is.
I could say otherwise in my grandma's house. What am my great-grandpa gonna do? Nothing. Little bitch baby, he can't do shit to me. I have the
Careful.
last name. My
He
cousin
could have
did
friends.
not. We think the reason my cousin bought my grandma's house from my grandma, or like rented it rather. So he technically, even though he is a boy of the family, he doesn't have the family last name because his mom was of the family, so he took his dad's name. So when he moved into the house, we think the reason our great-grandfather's spirit got so mad was because the name was not our last name, was not the family name. And that's why he got thrown out of bed, picked up, and slammed against the wall and held there.
Strong
But, I
ghost.
mean, it makes sense. Yeah, his girlfriend, like, woke up and thought he was just standing there, and she was like, "Man, he's so tall today," and then went back to sleep. She was like, "Huh, he seems taller," and went back, and he was, like, there against the wall, like, "Please help me."
Dang. Well, that
Yeah,
was a
he's
lot of
fine.
stories.
I think we're gonna have to start. I think we're gonna have to start recording these Halloween filterless episodes in the day because yeah, that door's staying shut. I can't open that door.
Just open the door and say, "Hey, yo, I respect you, but you gotta respect me too, bitch." They like that.
I'm not calling the ghost a bitch.
I call my ghost a bitch all the time. He's fine. He respects it.
What, the one that snarled at you?
Yeah. I opened my door, right? And after like I calmed down and that scariness went away, I went into my room and went like, "Hey, yo, like listen here, motherfucker. This is my area. You can do whatever the fuck you want in the hallway, but you better be a little respectful bastard." And I'll say it again. My door's open.
Yeah, I just texted Ace. Like, he asked how the recording's going. I will go, "I'm genuinely frightened," and explain the hallway, and then he sends a picture of two glowing eyes in a hallway. And I went, "Dude, stop!"
Probably one of the cats.
Just open the door
No.
and be like, "Hey."
No, it was no, that I can't open the door. That's the thing. It's not like I don't want to. It's an I can't.
Well,
Yeah,
But
like
yes,
underneath the door.
that is all of the stories.
better
That is
close
all
it.
these-
That is all of the.
Better
I just punched my microphone again.
better close out this episode so Cat can go piss himself in his bed and try not to sleep.
I already pissed myself.
Then you need to go to the bathroom.
Gonna
Better
be
open that
in
door.
Anyways.
position. I'm just a guest.
Yeah, you literally, you look up. So we got Instagram, we got Filterless Podcast, Twitter, we got Filterless PC, TikTok, the Filterless Podcast. Also, like I said in the beginning, we do have a Gmail that you can send us reviews. If you don't have Apple products, you can send us reviews there. The email is technically supposed to be used so we can gather topics and potential guests from the viewers and listeners at home, and that is filterlesstopics@gmail.com. You can find me over on Twitch and YouTube at Dr. Catatonic. You can also Ace isn't here. I'm gonna shout out for him. You can find Ace over on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at AceofShame. And Ven, you got places, got things you want to shout out?
I mean, the only thing, I guess, same as last time, the only thing I really do is write a butt ton of fan fiction on AO3. It's same username, Domesticated Opossum. There, I've currently maybe kind of working on a podcast, so we'll see if that goes anywhere.
Nice.
Ooh, podcast.
AO3. Sorry, that's my thing. Yes.
And Luna, where can they find more Luna content if they want that, other than episode 1?
You can find me. Luna Wither is my username. You can find me on Instagram, Twitch, fucking X or whatever Elon Musk is calling it nowadays.
It's
TikTok.
Twitter. Nobody's calling it X.
He wants to so bad. He won't give it up. You can find me on TikTok. It's Luna Wither or it's Luna Wither Alt. I tend to be more active on my alt. And I try to stream on Mondays. I'm
Unless
just
you
a
forget.
very casual person. I do what I want to do, and I just hang out with people more times. I'm a guest
Their
star.
streams are their streams are pretty dope. Go check them out.
I descend into madness, so nowadays, a lot of times, it's a character, I guess. Hopefully.
But yeah, this has been Filterless, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. Oh no, Ace isn't here. Oh, quick, someone say the line.
I don't remember what it is.
Go fuck yourselves, everybody. Oh, that's so weird saying it. Goodbye.